Hello friends, this is David Sami with A Christian Journey. I thought what might be fruitful is to turn our attention to some foundational truth, because the more I talk to Christians and non-Christians, the more I see that we have a misguided understanding in regard to our relationship with God. We think that we human beings are naturally good, and if we apply ourselves to do what is right, we will all go to heaven. Unfortunately, these type of views have even gained a foothold in the church as well as the culture. I recently came across a statistic that was shocking. According to the Christian statistics, 69% of churchgoers believe that everyone will go to heaven. But if that would be so, why did even Christ need to come? You see, that's why I think we have neglected theology to a certain extent, that our views of God is not being shaped by the Bible, but is being shaped by the culture. And many times, the church, we are kind of redirecting our understanding of things to fit the culture rather than allowing Bible to mold and shape our views. And here today we want to talk about the nature of man. What is the nature of man as far as God is concerned and what the Bible reveals? You know, our core problem is the misunderstanding of the nature of man. Most religions and the Christianity that is misguided, this is the root problem, is the understanding the nature of man. In Ephesians 2:1 we read, "And you were dead in trespasses and sins." You know, prior to their conversion, Apostle Paul is telling them that they were spiritually dead. Spiritually dead means that they were separated from God and His life. Now, the cause of the separation was due to their trespasses and their sin. The way they lived their lives was by deviation from what is right and what is good. Their lives failed to measure up to God's standard. You see, this is true of all humanity, all mankind in our natural state. And then on verse 3, Apostle Paul goes on to say, "And were by nature children of wrath like the rest of mankind." Now, there are a few words here that really we should pay attention to. The first one is children. The word for children actually implies from birth. Wrath here is the wrath of God against sin. And the word nature is that which grows in us naturally. So if we put all of this together, on verse 3, Apostle Paul is saying that from birth, we are born with a nature that causes us to deviate from the right path and do what is not right in God's eyes. As a result, it makes us to come under divine wrath. You see, this is the universal of all mankind. We are all sinners, not because we commit a sin, but we commit sins because that's who we are by nature. You see, we have what commonly we refer to is a corrupt nature. Mankind is corrupt because that's who he is. We are a fallen beings. We are all totally depraved. And this is the essential meaning of the concept of original sin. You see, original sin is not the first sin that was committed by Adam and Eve, but it's the result of the first sin and in what it made us as a result of the first sin. You see, we naturally don't think of ourselves this way. We don't have a sin consciousness. We don't think we are sinners. We all feel normal. But you see, this is the problem of humanity. We are deceived inwardly, and the truth needs to come from outside to us. Where in Adam and Eve, their situation was different. They knew the truth inwardly, but Eve got deceived from the outside, and Adam just frankly rebelled against God's truth. But they knew the truth. But we are completely the other way around. We are deceived inwardly, and we don't know the truth. That's why we have all of these assumptions that we are all good. All we need to do is try a little harder. After all, nobody's perfect. We just need to apply ourselves. And if we apply ourselves, we'll all be well. And that's not true at all. That is not true. The first thing that we need to understand, to have a correct understanding of biblical Christianity, is that we are totally depraved. That we are by nature, we act in such a way that brings us to enmity with God. And that's who we are. That all is not well between us and God. Naturally, we are actually enemies. We are in enmity. That's why we need a mediator. If all is well between us and God, why do we need Christ to mediate for us? But the question is, how did we become this way? Did God make us this way? Or did something go wrong in human experience that we became this way? And that's what we want to take up next time, to take a look and see what happened to us, what happened to humanity. So until then, may the Lord be with you. May He keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you and give you peace. This is David Sami with A Christian Journey.